Got a new arrival from Europa Simulazioni, Italian wargame publisher that I really, really like. You've seen me cover their games on the channel. Most recently, I did, what was the game? It was the Battle of Piacenza. Sometimes it takes the mouse a minute to get to the end of the maze in my head. Battle of Piacenza, that was by Europa Simulazioni. So, as you know, great component quality, really interesting topics, usually focused on Italy. All of their games tend to usually, more often than not, be focused in the Italian region of the world and in sort of a Renaissance and later time period. And that is no exception today. This is their brand new release, Caporetto 1917. This is volume 3 of their Great War series, which is a battalion scale World War I system. All 3 of the volumes so far have been about the Italian campaign in World War I, which is of a lot of interest to me. I'm currently playing Italia 1917, 1918. Some overlap in subject material and geography, which I'll show you in a moment with this game. But this game is also part, like I said, of a series, and we have seen the other 2 on this channel. Here is Strafe Expedition, the Spring Offensive against Italy in 1916. This one I got as a folio. I believe there was a boxed edition originally, but you can see here, I think I've spread open this map in a previous unboxing. This system, here's the second one, Gorizia. I did an unboxing of this for sure on the channel. This is the 7th Battle of the Isonzo, I believe, in 1916. So we're moving ahead a little bit to 1917, and Caporetto is one of the more famous periods of the World War I in Italy, because Caporetto obviously was an Italian military disaster, and it is the subject of a game I got recently that I'm playing right now called Italia 1917, 1918, Farewell to Arms. That one's from Nuts. So as you can see, this series is being heavily supported by ES. And I just want to take a quick look inside the box because I don't think most people are aware of it. It's not a good solo game, and that's why you haven't seen me do it on the channel. There's some hidden information and like alternating activations of in each phase, I believe, from what I've read of the rules, that would really preclude solo play. There's some bluffing and like counterplay, and so playing against yourself kind of defeats the purpose of the system. But we have a really evocative cover here that I really like. It kind of actually reminds me a little bit of this one, but it's a photograph rather than a piece of artwork. But phenomenal covers nonetheless on this series. And so as you can see, we get a welcome note that I've got twice, it looks like. This game was proudly made in Italy. They're very keen on reducing the ecological footprints of their products, and as much as possible, minimize the use of non-recyclable plastic while using recyclable materials. Their printer is in Italy, which is awesome. I really like this. I, for one, appreciate their stewardship in their product creation here. So we got those. We got a bag of baggies, small baggies. I would probably never store this game in baggies because there are so many units. This system, by the way, is known for being having really high stacks. And in fact, so much so in this game, there's actually a separate third map that you use solely if you're overstacked on the main map. So that may turn some people off to this, but it's mostly artillery. The number of artillery units in this system is quite a lot. So here's the rule book. We're coming in at about 24 pages of rules. Yeah, so here's the final rule in the Tomino holding box. It's black and white with some color, and it's fairly dense, 2-column format. There are some pictures and examples throughout, which is nice. The examples are not color. Actually, you know what? Sorry, the light was throwing me. It is actually purely black and white, no color. So purely black and white, but it does, I mean, the photographs being in black and white does give a period feel to it. The system is rated 3 out of 5 complexity, so middleweight. I don't know how true that is because I haven't played it, but the sequence of play isn't actually too onerous. Although the action phase has a lot of steps to it. So again, we're talking battalion scale here, probably a little bit more involved than sort of some operational games and whatnot. Here we have a look at the counters. Here's the Italian army. It is, I believe it's formation activations in this game. And you can see that here's actually a company scale unit. Here's a battalion. I believe most units are either company or battalion. So it's a very, very zoomed in view of the conflict over a narrow area. But it is very beautifully produced. I really like the tones that this game uses. You will probably want to clip these. Let's turn this over. I got these upside down. So here we can see some Italian artillery pieces. I don't even know what the size of the artillery units are, but there are quite a lot of them. We got some engineers, more artillery down here. These look like Alpine, so Alpini, Italian Alpini. And then we've got some more battalions and companies down here. It looks like actually these might be the yeah, they don't have the unit size on the artillery as far as I can see. Here we've got the Germans, or actually these must be the Austro-Hungarians. these probably maybe are the Germans. Lots of artillery, certainly. Yeah. So it looks like these might be the same. The darker tone is actually the Alpine units. So these might be, yeah, GB is probably Austro-Hungarian. So Austro-Hungarian mountain battalions. We've got a bunch of artillery, as you can see, lots and lots of artillery. And then here's a third counter sheet. And then here we have got, looks like maybe these are the Germans, potentially. Yeah, see some Jaegers in here. So it looks like the really dark charcoal it might be Germans. Do we have, this is Caporetto, so we should have Rommel. There he is right there. Erwin Rommel, Alpenkorps. This is where he made his name in World War I on the Italian front. So that's the third counter sheet, and then the fourth counter sheet is mostly going to be markers. We've got disorder markers of various levels. We've got these action markers, so I think this is where it gets hard to solo the game because you've got sort of orders on the back potentially, so you can see defensive fire versus defensive fire and action. And then I don't know what some of these other ones are. Int. And there's a bunch of numbers on there. But all in all, really nicely done. The counters that ES does are quite nice. So here's the side map if your stacking gets too much. So this is just a little A4 size piece of paper zoomed in on a very specific part of the battle, probably where a lot of the action is going to take place. And this is where you can put your artillery stacks so they're not crowding the main map. We'll get to the main map in a moment. We've got player aids in English. So we've got the German regiments holding box. This, I imagine, is also probably helpful for stacking or maybe waiting to get on the map. Here we have got, so this is the activation sheet. So brigades that are waiting to be activated, brigades that have been activated, and then you face this towards your opponent, I believe, because depending on how many points you use to activate your brigade, that can change what their actions can be. So this is for the Germans. This is for the, yeah, so you can see here, we've got an Italian side and a German side. It looks like this is two copies of this. I'm wondering, because this dotted line, I'm wondering if they want you to cut that, which would be interesting, perhaps. They are double-sided, but the other side is in Italian. So you've got English and Italian sides to these. Here we've got the terrain effects chart, and this is on the back. We've got the assault table and bombardment and defensive fire table. So it doesn't look too complex in terms of results. This is pretty in line with the rest of the series. Pretty simple. Ds, Rs, casualties. Here's bombardment and defensive fire. And then, yeah, terrain effects. And then here we have got a couple of, well, here's a general records track for turns. So logistics points for the Italians, surrendered units, eliminated units, game turn. And as you can see, they're divided here with this line. So maybe these need to be cut. Because we have another one, we have a couple wing sheets here. So we've got a right wing for the central powers and a left wing sheet. And then an Italian, I don't know if these flags represent who's supposed to use these or they're just on there for the decoration. We've got a limited unit, surrendered box, more game turn tracks. So interesting that there's two of these. I think it's Italian on the other side. That is correct. So English and Italian. And then we've got an Italian terrain effects chart and an Italian combat results table. So then we have this giant pad of tracking paper. So there is some paperwork to be done here. And it looks like these sheets are different. So this is the entire left wing of the Italian army. And then here's the right wing reinforcement. So I don't know if you're supposed to mark on these, maybe photocopy these and track your losses, or I don't know why this is a pad that you can write on, but this is new. I don't remember this in other games in the series. There's a lot of units here. All right, then we come to the maps. So let me get these out. We got two dice in here, which are of an interesting color. We've got like a salmon colored die and a blue colored die. They're small and they have nice pattern to them. All right, let me spread out the map so you can see what we're working with. This is more or less what it looks like. It is a two-map game. The hexes are very large. Here's my finger, for example. But it does cover a lot of space, and the overlap is very small. So this is going to be a very large map. Some of the details on the map, as you can see, this is kind of in line with the rest of the series. Straff Expedition looks a lot like this. But the reason I wanted to pull this out and show you is because Caporetto is here. This is where the disaster took place and unhinged the Italian army, and they had to start retreating. And then we've got a bunch of like mountains, alpine mountains over here. As you can see, this is quite a big playing surface. Now, I wanted to pull out the map from Italia 1917 because that map, if I can get it unfolded properly on camera, I will show you just how much the scale is different from that game. Sorry. Let's see if I can find it. So we're looking kind of in this direction. Caporetto on the Italia map is here. So that roughly translates, if I can get it properly. So here's Caporetto, here's Caporetto. And as you can see, if I can get this to stand up properly, the scale we're working with here is a lot zoomed in compared to Italia. If I am not mistaken, Tolmino is the far left. Tolmino over here is the far southern edge of the map, and Tolmino on this map is here. So actually what we're looking at is we're actually looking at it kind of diagonally. They're oriented differently. But this map, here you can see the river, Tolmino to Caporetto, is literally here. So one whole map of this game is taking place on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hexes of the Italian 1917 map. And then in the east, we go all the way over here, and this is going to be these mountainous regions here, it looks like. If we go east of Caporetto, we get to Flitch, which is down here. So you can kind of see if I can move this, you follow the river line. We're following this river line, and then it makes the bend at Flitch. Here we are here, makes the bend at Flitch. And then we've got these two mountains off to the, I guess that would be north. Those would be these alpine terrain here. And then in the north, it goes, I don't know, somewhere up in here. It looks like it might, the furthest north town I can see here is Tarsento. And so that would be, I wonder if Udine. So here's Cividale de Friuli. Here's Cividale here. So yeah, so what you're looking at here with this map, you're basically looking from here up, across, down. So this section of the Italian 1917 map is represented in these two maps here. So anyways, I just want to show that to you. I thought it was quite interesting. Battalion scale versus divisional scale, and on two games on the same topic that have come out very close together. That is Europa Simulazioni's Caporetto 1917. One of my goals for next year is to get something from this system played at my local gaming club and report back. So I hope you enjoyed this look.